Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to share with you how to make this gorgeous diamond thong. Oh my god. So what's special about this one is it's got these easy release clasps on the end here. Once you undo those, you can do your reveal, or that's how you get in and get out. So let's start by cutting out your pattern. So fold the fabric in half and place your pattern on the fold. Cut it out. And this is the fabric I'm using today. Oh my god, look at it. It's so beautiful. So this is a gorgeous velvet, but it has also got some metallic through it as well. So make sure you cut out the main fabric front and back. So I'm cutting out the front at the moment, placing it on the fold, securing the edge with clips because I just think that for such a small piece of fabric, it just really keeps it aligned. Then I've got my crystal on top for good juju, and I use my scissors to cut it out. Make sure they're sharp. And once you've cut out your main fabric, you'll then go on to cut out your lining as well. So this design means that you cut out 4 pieces, 2 for the front and 2 for the back. And I love this part. Oh, so beautiful. Look at that fabric. It's so, so gorgeous. So make sure you use a stretchy fabric. 2-way, 4-way stretch is ideal. Now we've got our patterns cut out front and back. So pretty. I'm like a moth to a flame. I just love looking at all this like pretty like glittery stuff, and the feel is beautiful. Like it's really soft, but you can still feel like it's got a little bit of that shimmer as well on there. So now I'm just lining up the crotch seam here. The right sides are together. And then I will use my pins to keep that in place, making sure that everything is aligned. Now, if you want access to this pattern, please head to the website. The link is below, indiajean.com, or just go to the link below this and it will be there. So you're going to sew a 3/4 inch seam allowance there, and then on our lining, I'm using a white lining, lining up the edges of the crotch seam and securing that with pins. This pattern goes from size double XS all the way up to triple XL, and all the strap measurements are in the pattern. So then we're going to sew along here, and just a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I use my overlocker, which is a serger in other countries, but you can use a straight stitch and a zigzag stitch to create the same look, or just use a zigzag. And there we go. So they're secure, and you can see the seam, and they're secure on the lining as well. So now I'm just going to place the wrong sides together. So I've got the right side of either the lining or the main fabric facing up at me. I'll line up the crotch seam and place some pins there to keep this seam where it's supposed to be. I always find that lining up the seams first with the pins is the best way to get everything aligned, and then turning it around, lining up the other side with the crotch seam and placing some pins in there to keep it all aligned. And as you can see, like the seam allowance of the lining I've got turning to the right, and the seam allowance of the main fabric I've got turning to the left, or the other way around. This is just to keep that crotch seam nice and flush and to keep everything secure. It's just my way. Other people might do it differently, but I find that this way works with my patterns, and These are the same patterns that I use for my costumes as well. So plenty of people have worn these, and plenty of people have made these as well. So you're in good hands. The next I will line up the corners. So this is the diamond, and as you can see, I'm just lining up the pins on the diamond, and then I will pin the whole complete edge and secure everything into place. Okay, so once everything pinned, we then sew a zigzag stitch all the way around to secure those pieces together. And there we are. So I've used a zigzag stitch. The length is 3 and the width is 3, and that's all secure. I will probably just even out some edges with some scissors, and then she's ready to do the hemming, which is just, you can use a fold over elastic, and a lot of my videos show fold over elastic. This time I'm not going to do a fold over. Oh, I'm just showing you that my needle's blunt. So if you can see that your sewing machine has skipped a few stitches, it means that your needle is blunt, but it's not going to interfere with this part of the stage of the pattern. Okay, so I've got some strips here, and as you can see, we've got the lines going across, not down, so I can get more stretch out of these strips because this is my new fold over elastic. I'm placing the right side of the strips against the right side of the main fabric. Okay, so I'm going to do an edge on the back and an edge on the front, and I'm going to leave a tail of 2 inches on either side. Okay, this is what it looks like because I slightly pulled it, so it's got a little bit of a gather to create that stretch through it, which is really important. And as you can see, I use my overlocker. You can also use a zigzag stitch as well. There we are. It's so pretty. And then I'm just going to simply fold that over. I'm folding that, like if it was fold over elastic, that's what it would be, but it's just a strip of the fabric turned into hemming. So I'm just going to use a clip, or you can use a pin to keep everything in place. It can be a little bit fiddly because I've stretched the strap so that it gives that elasticated look and feel. So I'm just probably maneuvering around a little bit with the fingers, so this just shows it in real time. I haven't sped it up or anything like that, but you get to see what I'm doing. I'm making sure that everything is folded neatly, and if it takes a few times, it takes a few times. So just have some patience on this journey. If this is your first time making it, this part may be a little bit time consuming, but once you've nailed it, you'll find that you'll just breeze through. So just use the first one that you make to be like an experiment, just to see how it feels. And then the next one you make, you'll be able to refine it because you'll know the personality of the fabric that you're working with. You'll know the personality of the stitch and the pins, because everything really does ultimately have its own personality, and you have to work with it because you can't change the personality of the fabric or the pins or anything. So you just have to adjust accordingly. So now everything's pinned. I'm going to do a zigzag stitch to secure that into place. And the last, like the needle will go through that line that I was just pointing to. So then I am doing the other side now. I am folding this strap over the seam, over the edge, and I'm using some pins to secure that into place, rolling the overlocked edge as well so that everything is encased in this fold over strap really neatly, because if it's done neatly, then you're going to have a really beautiful looking garment. So take your time and work through this. There we are. Everything should be in place, and then you'll secure this with a zigzag stitch. So you'll do both of these edges with a zigzag stitch. There we are. So that's what that looks like. You've got that little edge folding over here. That's what it looks like from the back. And we just need to take this off. So we're just going to trim that off, and you can see how neat it is. I really love this technique. Great if you can't find the fold over elastic color you're looking for. There we are. So now we just have to cut the excess fabric off. Oh, so pretty. And the reason why we cut it off is because it's not going to fray. So it's just easier to do this way. I'm using duck-billed scissors. This is what I use to make bras and lingerie and anything with lace. They're the best scissors in town. As you can see, they have got like a duckbill shape to them. And then you just use this to actually cut that excess off. But I love these scissors. I'm sure you could probably get them on Amazon. I can't remember exactly where I got mine from. Probably like a bra specialist shop. It's been a while. I've had them for a very long time. There we go. So that's been trimmed off, and we've got those two cute little 2-inch tails on either side. And then I'm just going to trim up the other side. There we are. Oh, it's so good. Very satisfying actually using those duckbill scissors. And as you can see, there's plenty of stretch there, and the fabric works. It's just delicious to work with. And there we go. So now we just got to do the other edge of the diamond and follow this same procedure. The only difference is we'll be placing this strap onto the tail. So the right side of the fabric on the strap facing the right side of that 2-inch tail. Securing that with a pin, and then we're going to follow that down onto like the main fabric that the tail is extended from. Pinning that into place. I will slightly pull this when I sew it. So, but for now, just lining everything up before I head over to the sewing machine, and then I will take the pins out and I will slightly pull the strap. Now, when it comes into how much pull do you do, I kind of eyeball it because I know the personality of the strap. But what you might want to do is just measure your distance that you're cutting for, and then cut about 85% of that as a strap and stretch that out to lengthen. And that's what that will look like when you've done that. And that's what it looks like on the other side. And all you need to do is do the same on the other end. That's the serger. Because I sell a lot of these, I prefer to work with a serger. I know that there's going to be really good stability. And because a lot of these go on stage, we want everything to stay together, but for your home use you might just want to use a sewing machine. Okay, so I folded the remainder of that fabric back on itself, and then I use my pin to pin that neatly into place, and then just continue folding that behind. You don't need to pull this when you're sewing on the sewing machine because you've already made that elasticated ruching look with the first application of the strap. Now you're just securing it and just encasing the main fabric as a hemming look, so it's properly finished. There you are. And the tail might be a little bit harder for your sewing needle to go through, but just go really slowly. And you'll do your zigzag stitch along here and also along here as well. So on this end I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm going to fold it over and pin everything into place. And just making sure that everything is nice and neat. And once, like I said, once you've done this once, you can do it a million times. But everything is, I forgot to mention that also as part of the pattern, you get A4, you also get US letter, AO layered for studio owners, and also a directions manual is downloadable inside the website. So you get 3 pattern variations, A4, US letter, AO, and the directions manual with a list of what you need and the directions on paper. Of course, everything is downloadable, or you can just load everything up onto your iPad, computer, or phone. So now everything is pinned in, we've sewn our zigzag stitch, and we've secured it in place. It's so good. I'm loving this. So now we just use our duckbill scissors. And if you don't have duckbill scissors, just use normal scissors, but go really slowly. I mean, I'm not rushing this and I'm using duckbill scissors. You could literally go faster than this, but I'm still taking it quite slow because there's no need to rush here, because if you rush and you make a mistake, you're going to take up way too much time. So it's better to go slow and get everything right and just move on to the next step. So if you rush, you might find that you take up more time. So I'm just trimming off the edges just so that they're a little bit neater. And also because I love using these scissors. Anything, if I want to cut anything with those scissors, it just feels so good. That's what it looks like on the inside. And then we will do the same on this side as well. So just lifting the fabric up that I want to get rid of, and then I just slowly cut through. And like I said, this fabric is not going to fray, so it's just going to be easier to finish this way. And washing this fabric, I would suggest to hand wash in, you know, just lukewarm water and dry in the shade. I wouldn't put this through the washing machine because I think that it would damage the fabric and take the shine away. So it's better to hand wash. Just cutting off all those little loose threads just helps with having neat work. And there we go. So both diamond ends are done, and all we need to do now is the leg holes, and the base is done. So we just have our strap, and it's a 1 inch thick, and I'm measuring the strap against the leg hole. If I was going to cut that as a length, I would then make it not the length of the leg, but be about 80%, maybe 75 to 80% of the length, and that's the elasticated amount. Okay, so we've got both sides together, like the right sides together, and we are going to sew up to the other end. And there we go. So I've done both sides so you can see what they look like. And as you can see, I got a little bit of a ruche here, which means that I've pulled the elastic slightly a little bit more around the crotch area for more coverage, so that it's a firm hold and not a tight hold. And we definitely don't want a loose hold. So we want it firm but comfortable. But I think because I know the personality of the fabric so well underneath my hands, and when it's underneath the sewing machine, I just eyeball it when I am sewing. I don't usually cut specific lengths because I just know intrinsically of what that length should be. It's weird. I think someone who's been sewing a long time would know what I'm talking about there. Yeah, so now I'm just folding the fabric over, so it's becoming like a fold over elastic, and I'm using pins to secure that in place so everything is neat. And this is actually quite a satisfying feeling, because once you've got those pins in and you've sewn your zigzag stitch, you are like more than halfway there to creating your very first Diamond Thong Bikini. It's just such a beautiful feeling to get to this point and go, oh my God, I've just got to put straps on and it's finished. So yeah, get those pins in, take your time, and then do a zigzag stitch. So do this for both sides. So that's side one, and that's both sides pinned, and we're going to sew our zigzag stitch around these leg holes. And there she is, the zigzags are on, and we just need to cut that excess material off. So again, I'll be using my duckbill scissors, and now I've got more to cut with, so that's very exciting and therapeutic at the same time. So yeah, oh, so good. I think you would probably be able to find these on Amazon or your local shop, or you could probably pop into Google duckbill scissors, and I'm sure a lot of duckbill scissors will probably come up in your area that you can purchase online. I think mine was about between 25 and 50 Australian dollars. So I guess it's going to be different. This was a long time ago. So this was about 10 years ago, and they're still going strong. Like, I haven't sharpened them, and you can sharpen them. But they're still going strong because I don't use them on sequins. They're only used on really soft woven fabrics like this one. And ta-da! Oh my God, this is so exciting because we're up to putting the hardware on, which is the rings. But this is what it looks like. It's so pretty and so satisfying to not use a fold over elastic and just create your own fold over elastic with the same material. Okay, so we are up to putting the rings on. So in my directions manual that you can download, I've got all this outlined for you, but you're going to need 2 large rings. These larger ones are 15 millimeters, or you could use 12 millimeters. It depends on your strap. Like I'm using 10 millimeter strap, so the larger rings are 12 millimeters, I think, because that could fit. Or is it 15 millimeters? Because it needs to fit 3 straps. Well, the tail and 2 straps. And then these outer tails, I'm just putting 10 millimeter rings on here, because the other strap that will be shared with this ring will be another 10 millimeter strap. There we go. So that is just securing all those rings on with some clips. If you know me and my videos, I'm always using these little mini bulldog clips because they are just so strong and soft at the same time. So the last 2 rings I'm using, so you'll need 4 small and 2 medium. And then I will just secure these rings with zigzag, no, not a zigzag stitch, a straight stitch. So 2 straight stitches, about 3 millimeters apart, just to keep these in place and secure. There and there. And do that for all 6. There we are, it's all done. So pretty, and the little straight stitches are on there, and now I'm just going in with my scissors and just taking off the excess tails. Sometimes I leave the tails on if I'm sending them out to a client, because if they wanted to add more length they can by unpicking the stitch and bringing more length into the pants. But for this pair, I'm taking the tails off. So pretty. So now all we need to do is get the straps ready. And I'm using this gorgeous strap elastic that is the most gorgeous sparkly pink, because it would just go with this velvet so beautifully. Look at it. Isn't it gorgeous? It's got like this AB glitter reflect through it, and super soft and plush on the inside. And yes, I have got new nails. I started off with red and now I have animal print. So now we just apply that. So just making sure that your strap goes through the ring and fits nice and secure. That gives you an idea of what it's going to look like. It's going to look so cute and special. I'm obsessed. So now we need to cut 8 pieces of elastic, and the measurements are in the directions manual. So you will need 8 straps and 8 sliders, but I'm starting off with 4 here for the front, and then I'll do the other 4 for the back. And so we're just going to make little straps here with the sliders on the end, and folding a little tail back on itself to make like a little centimeter tail. And then I will sew that in place with maybe a zigzag stitch there and there. And I will do that for all 4 straps, or actually all 8 straps. But like I said, all the measurements for all the different sizes are inside the manual. And because this is an adjustable pattern, even if you are in extra small, the strap measurements are in there for a small and vice versa. Even if you're a large, it's all adjustable. So I like that. I like having adjustable straps. Next I might do a video for tie straps, but we'll just work with this one for now. Okay, so once all those sliders are on, you're going to head over to your sewing machine, use either a straight or a zigzag stitch to secure these babies, and then we'll come back and put it on. All right, so I've done 2 in the front, and now I'm placing 2 in the front, another 2 in the front on the other side. And as you can see, 2 straps are sharing 1 ring up the top there. Oh, so pretty. And then these 2 straps are on their own. That's why the ring is a little bit smaller than the top middle one. There we are, and that's so pretty. That's all done. And then I'll grab these 2 and place them together, these 2 sides, and overlap them by about 2 or 3 millimeters. And then I'll just place a little clip there and sew a zigzag stitch to keep these babies together. And then I will do the other side, and I will repeat this whole process for the back. Overlapping these 2 by about 2 or 3 millimeters, and these straps are 10 millimeters. There we are. And we're going to sew those into place with a zigzag stitch. We'll get to that part, but we've got to make 4 other straps now with 4 sliders, and doing exactly the same process that we did for the other 4 straps. So thread them and secure them. There we are, all 4 are done, they're all secured. This is what they look like. Ta-da! So pretty. Okay, so as you can see, I've done the zigzag stitch, and by about 1 inch or 2, you can secure those 2 straps together. So pretty. And then we'll go on to the other side, and we'll do exactly what we did on the front side, but we're doing it on the back. So the middle ring will have 2 straps going through it, and then the 2 side rings will have 1 strap going through it. So there you go. This is the second strap going on the top middle ring, and that's going through. Secure that on by threading it under the first bar and then under the second bar. Beautiful. And then the last 2 straps, and we are almost finished, but the last part is the best part. I'm so excited to get to this last part because it's very, very satisfying. It's just a little bit fiddly until you get there. Sometimes your fingers are just not computing as fingers. There we go. So that 1 more to go. And then we've got all 8 straps on, and these last ones we will do what we did before, bringing the strap ends together and overlapping them by about 2 or 3 millimeters and securing with a zigzag stitch. Perfect, so that's what we do here. Line them up. Perfect. And then do the same for the other side. And securing that with a little clip or a pin. If you don't use clips, you can use pins as well. And there we are. So that's done. So now we are ready for my favorite part. So we're going to use these little clips, little bikini clips or butterfly clips, we sometimes call them. And then just place one side through, and we're going to secure that with a clip. And also I will, on the sewing machine, I will do a couple of straight stitches, or a straight stitch and a zigzag stitch. There we are. I'm folding probably 1.5 centimeters over the back and securing that. There we go. And then I'll do the other side. All ready to go. They're so great. They're very easy to maneuver if you're doing shows on stage or even just getting undressed at home. You can undo it with one hand. It's super efficient. So there we go. So we've got that, and we will secure that onto the other side. Fingers work, and then pulling that through a little bit, and then we'll clip that and sew those into place as well. Oh, so beautiful. I'm in love. They're so pretty. There we are. That's it. We made them, or you made them. How exciting. Everything is adjustable. There's your little clips on the side. It's very high hip, so it really exaggerates the leg lines and looks absolutely beautiful on. Make them in as many colors as you like. Just make sure to use a 2-way or a 4-way stretch, and you are good to go. Happy sewing.